If you're looking for a gruffed voice in canon lore recital of the events that I'm going to talk about in this video over some deviant art unaccredited images, well, that's not what this is. This is going to be 40k lore with dick jokes. This is PK's War Room. In today's video, I'm talking about the Primarch project, what it is, what went wrong, and what it meant for the fictional universe of the 31st millennia and onwards. And I also want to talk about this man, because he's a fucking bad boy. When I say Primarch, I don't mean child labor violations in the pursuit of high street fashion. I'm actually talking about the Primarchs from Warhammer 40k, the big daddies of the Space Marines. Although arguably there's as much child rights violations in the 41st millennium. The Primarchs are the G-enhanced bodybuilder daddies of the Space Marines that we know and grow tired of today. But let's start from the beginning. In the beginning, there was a bang. But a little while after that, there was this man called the Emperor of Mankind. There's a lot to unpack about this man, which I will do when I get caught up in the Horus Heresy novel series, and I can have an informed opinion and account of his fascist ways. But basically, he's a godlike space wizard with a penchant for retributor gold suits and a little bit of old-fashioned totalitarianism. He unified the warring factions of Earth after thousands of years of fuck about and find out. He's the guy who got us back up into the stars after a dark age of technology, but he did it in a fashy, kill everyone who gets in our way kind of way. It was a crusade, a violent crusade. But that's not this video. This video is about his most famous achievements in canon, that he created the Space Marines and their progenitors, the poster boys that sell 1,000 model kits. But the Emperor isn't quite the genius golden god that he wants you to think he is. He's a bit like Steve Jobs in that sense. He's less Steve Wozniak, the actual genius behind Apple, and he is more Steve Jobs. He's got the ideas, but he does need some help. He probably doesn't wash either. But let's talk a bit more context. Before there were the Space Marines, the Emperor of Mankind, beloved by all who are into propaganda of the Imperial War Machine, well, he had a few science projects. And we're not talking volcanoes that spout what looks like cum. We're talking like, what if the X-Men met WWE? It is as cool as that sounds. His original prize-winning attempt to create super soldier killing machines was the Custodes. These golden-clad warriors still knock about now, being the most elite of the elite, making Space Marines look like little wet babies that need their black carapace changing. Who would win in a fight, 5 Space Marines or 1 singular Custodes? It's the forbidden question you can't ask in the 40k lore subreddit. It's a place where people have forgotten that power rankings and these kind of questions are completely dependent upon which book you're reading, who wrote it, what they collect, and whether they had their breakfast cereal that morning. The Custodes, as perfect and absolutely fucking stellar as they are, the best of the best, the super soldiers, end up being a costly and difficult process to replicate. Think of them as being a gold-plated Land Rover Discovery. It's a powerful machine that will get the job done very well, but the only cunts who own them vote for the Conservatives. Instead, the big fascist E needed a more reliable workhorse for his ongoing wars on the planet of Earth. He needed more of a Toyota. He needed his very own Toyota Hilux, a brand of mutated void rat that could carry an entire war across its collective back. So along came the sequel to his first science project, and unlike most movie franchises, the second one actually kind of sucked. It was the Thunder Warriors. They're like Space Marines, which we're coming to, but they're bigger, scarier, and more savage and far less stable. These Mad Max looking motherfuckers were prone to mental breakdowns and severe and often fatal genetic mutations. In many ways, a lot of the mental instability and the knuckle dragging like hooliganism that we see associated with the Thunder Warriors are much more savage barbarians to fight the barbarians kind of character. That is kind of the thing that we saw in Rogue Trader era like Space Marines when they had like death tied on their head or the word twat on their knuckles. And that kind of thing has been lost from modern 40k, where Space Marines are now like these sanctimonious warrior monks who are the last bastion of heroism in a cruel universe. And I miss the psychotic drug-addled dickheads. I miss it a lot. Anyway, these Mad Max looking motherfuckers were the Emperor's second attempt at creating gene-wrought might. And it kind of worked, even if they were unreliable. Less Toyota and more Cybertruck, I guess. But they were only a temporary solution. They were definitely a circular peg for a circular hole, the circular hole being the ununified planet of Earth, and they needed to unify it through some, brimstone-style violence. But this peg it would occasionally have a psychotic break and grow a third arm. Not literally, by the way, before someone comments in the comment section that there's no case of a Thunder Warrior growing a third arm. Shut up. So what was the Emperor's solution to the Thunder Warrior problem? Well, he fucking murdered them all. Or more accurately, the Custodes under the leader of Constantine Valbor did it on the orders of Big E. Like taking the old dog out the back of the shed to shoot in the back of the head. Except in this case, that dog was 100, maybe 1,000 gene-enhanced super soldiers to help you to conquer your home planet. The Emperor is a cold bastard. So what's next? The Space Marines? Well, No. That's where the Primarch project comes in. The people named after, or perhaps the shops named after them, or maybe it's just an ancient, Greek or Latin word. Either way, it's the Primarchs. The Primarch project was the Emperor's attempt to clone 20 pseudo-clone sons of himself in order to create not only the perfect weapons in a way, but leaders for a campaign across the stars, but also genetic templates for a wider fighting force. They were copies of copies, simulacra, ship of Theseus kind of shit. The point is, they never end up being full-on clones, but cloning or clone technology is mentioned in places. For context, the whole star-spanning thing, well, mankind was scattered amongst the stars. We once had like a uniform empire that was collapsed under infighting, fighting from the outside with Xenos races, the warp becoming turbulent because the Elder accidentally finger-fucked a god into existence. I got a video on that too. So Big E wanted to draw those people together, but in that real hippie vibe of, if you don't come with me, I'll fucking murder you. So science project number 3 was the Primarchs. 20, although we only ever really see 18 of them because 2 of them are struck in from official record, 20 super soldier, super soldier, probably more super soldier than even the Custodes. Yeah, there's various levels of super soldier here, and they've all got like powers and innate abilities. Think superhero powers, or the gimmick of a wrestler, or maybe both combined.
Did your husband give it to you?
Horus, the leader of the traitorous forces during the heresy and the Civil War, is a masterful leader, commander, and tactician with a charisma that seems almost preternaturally able to persuade people to his way of thinking. Angron was an empath who could absorb pain before the butcher's nails, a device strapped on top of his head, destroyed that ability, and now he's just the Hulk. He's very fucking angry, he's big, and he has a very high level of strength. Sanguinius, angelic wings, and the power of psychic foresight and premonitions, and he's really fucking pretty. Conrad Kurz, on the other hand, is just Batman. This could be a whole video in itself, and let me know if you want to see me break down the Primarchs in a way that is more fun and interesting than, I don't know, a bag of hot chip. I don't even know where that came from, that's not even on the script. Back to the science of space wizardry. He started to go with these Vat-born wrestlers, far more advanced than anything he'd ever done before, with the help of the best scientists Terra had to offer, including a Perpetual, which again is its own video. He also had a little input from some slightly less than savable characters. The ruinous powers themselves, the chaos gods of the Immaterium. Now I know what you might say, the ruinous powers themselves, the chaos gods of the Immaterium, don't sound like a good time. Khorne is very likely to get in a fight on a night out, and you know that Zeech and Slanesh are both sex pests. Nurgle's alright though, top lad. The exact details of what was taken, stolen, or brokered with from the gods themselves is a little hazy, because the people that tell our mortal and immortal super soldier protagonists of these deals in the novels, they aren't exactly the most reliable of narrators. In Horus Rising, Horus is shown by a demon a vision of the future when he's incapacitated within the Serpent Lodge. I've got a whole video on this. But the vision of the future, the thing that really pushes Horus to commit the attempt at patricide in the Civil War, is a universe where Guilliman and Sanguinius are held up as statues and revered as godlike figures, but Horus is nowhere to be seen in that depiction. And it really plays on his flaw. That's another thing. They've all got powers, but they've all got flaws. His flaw, which is arrogance and pride. But on top of all of that, there's a dramatic irony, because we all know that Horus, being the arch traitor, the false emperor, or the true emperor, depending on who you ask, to fight against the emperor and the Imperium, that's the reason that his name becomes heresy and basically a swear word in the future. The reason there are no statues of him is because of what he's about to do. And so again, it's the demons using almost like time loopy stuff to get the Primarchs to do things, or the Space Marines to do things that they probably shouldn't do. And then in the book First Heretic, Argol Tal, that I mentioned earlier, who doesn't always look like this, by the way, that's after he gets a really bad tapeworm, but Argol Tal is sent backwards in time, or sees a vision of the past with him and some crewmates by a demon. There's some context here that's missing. He's sent on an away mission into the Eye of Terror, which is a giant, freshly opened like wormhole into the warp, the subspace area that these beasts and demons live. He's sent there by his Primarch Lorgar. But unlike an away mission in Star Trek where a red shirt gets killed and everyone learns a moral problem, or the audience and the show itself get to together go through some sort of conundrum that sci-fi can help us to extrapolate and understand a bit better. This is Warhammer 40k, bitch. So instead, everyone fucking dies barring a handful of them. They're lost for a month. Well, it's actually only a couple of days in real-time space. When they come back, I think like 10 minutes has passed, but they've lost a month or two of their lives, and they've had to sustain themselves by eating their dead crewmates and brethren. All of that changes Argol Tal quite a bit, but not as much as the demon tapeworm that gets inside him. Maybe I'll do a whole video on that. Ingathel the Ascended is the demon that Lorgar has told Argol Tal to commune with. It's not the one that's inside his ass, it's a different one. And Ingathel shows him this past, shows him the pods, shows him the Primarch project, and then reveals to him, well, there's a Gellerfield there. What could that be for, Argyltal? Now, there's some context that needs to be added there. A Gellerfield is named after Uri Geller, who is a TV psychic from the 80s and 90s who was kind of shit. He's the guy responsible for suing Pokemon and ruining the depictions of Kadabra on Pokemon cards because he's holding the spoon, because his trick used to be they used to bend spoons on morning TV. Anyway, the Gellerfield, which is tongue-in-cheek referencing him, the Gellerfield helps to keep out psychic anomalies and demons on ships when they travel through the warp to ascend to like faster than light speeds and bend time and space. You don't need one of those looking after your daycare or creche or kindergarten underneath the Himalayas on Earth. The demon explains this deal, this arcane genetic alchemy, this knowledge that the Emperor went to the Chaos Gods to get. And this fucks off Argyltal, because Argyltal was part of the Word Bearers, the people who thought the Emperor was a god and revered him as a god, and then the Emperor scolded them for them, slapped them down and said, "Down boy, there are no gods. Religion is bad." Meanwhile, he was on the other phone being like, "Yeah, Chaos Gods, yeah, hook a brother up." They contemplate even killing Gilliman in the fake womb at this point to change time if it is a time travel scenario. But him and his brothers think maybe it's best not to do that. But at the point that they realize there's a Gellerfield, at the point that they're told that the Chaos Gods have been communed with by the Emperor, and the Emperor is a hypocrite and a liar, well, that pushes Argyltal over the edge, and he opts to, under the kind advisement of a demon, to smash the Gellerfield. And then the Primarchs are lost. A warp rift opens up and it pulls each of the pods out of their little day creche and crushes them across the universe, each one crashing to a different planet to gain its own Marvel Cinematic Universe origin story. Magnus bursts out of his pod in the vision that Argyltal has afterwards, moving things with his mind and floating like a little Charles Xavier / Magneto kind of character. Angron gets to go and do a Spartacus. Different video. But the point I'm getting to there is that it's all a temporal loop created by a demon taking space marines through time to lure them into doing something that it couldn't do for some reason. The bits we're being told about the future, about what the Emperor got up to with the Primarch project, both in Horus Rising and in First Heretic, it's all stuff being told to us from the perspective of a demon trying to convince an Astartes or a Primarch to turn rogue. It's not the most reliable narrator in the world, is it? Of course, it could be that the Gellerfield was just there to stop interplanar invaders from taking the Imperium's best bet or best weapon. Of course, that could have been the case. I guess we'll never truly know, and that's what makes for interesting storytelling within the Warhammer 40k lore and canon. But with the Primarchs being so far beyond anything they've ever done before and having such a strong warp signature and them all having special warp-based powers and warp premonitions and cognitions and shit, it does beg the question, where did the Emperor get that knowledge from? I actually feel very sad and sorry for Argyltal and the Word Bearers when they find out the Emperor's a big fucking liar. After this, the Astartes are scraped together from whatever gene material is left over and the legions are created. Legions being huge versions of each of the chapters we know today, and each legion gets split up further down the line to form both the chapters and subchapters that we get later. Again, other video. I've seen some wikis say that the Astartes project is like the salvaging of the Primarch project. They're making the Space Marines as a salvaging of what happened when the Primarchs got scattered. Not true. During their little temporal vision walk through time, Argyltal and co. see scientists working on the gene material for the first Legion, or Legion 1, the first founding Legion, which is the Dark Angels. So they were already perfecting the gene seed and trying to make warriors right there and then based upon the gene seed of this little baby in a pod. One of the big arguments is that the flaws that the Marines end up having, the Space Marines and the Astartes have, is all basically because they have imperfect data when they first build them all. So for example, the reason that the Blood Angels love a suck, or the Space Wolves can turn into a dog when they've had one too many pints, like all of us really. These genetic flaws, and every Astartes Legion has them. The Word Bearers, supposedly their genetic flaw might be that they are just too zealous, they're too easy to mold to a cause, a religious fervor, which again could have been a premeditation by demons set up further in the past as a long game and a long plan in a long war. And all of this conjecture comes very nicely to the coming stories that we will get with the Horus Heresy. By coming, I mean after this point. They're already there. There's the massive book series, and you should read some of them. But like, was the Civil War planned by the Emperor himself? Was he planning for the Marines to kill off the Marines like he did with the Thunder Warriors before? And it just got out of hand and set the whole fucking galaxy on fire because the Emperor's an idiot. Or was Horus turning rogue in the Civil War the machinations of the Chaos Powers instead, and the Emperor thought he could get away with it, that this would never come to pass? Well, we can talk all about that in another video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you'd like to hear about next in the Warhammer 40k lore, canon, and universe, explained in my own rather energetic style, I guess. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video with your friends if you enjoyed it, because I'd like more people to see this channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.